Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is a little different. You see, today we're going to get really honest, but with a twist. Because sometimes the only way to process the madness of covert narcissistic abuse is to laugh at it. So grab your tea, your favorite cozy blanket, and a big dose of "I'm over this nonsense," because we're diving into conversations I wish I had with my covert narcissist, but didn't, because frankly, I didn't want to end up in yet another spiral of gaslighting and existential dread. So let's get started. The first story is called The Art of Tap Dancing Around Rage. So, yesterday was a storm I could feel before it hit. It started when he came home. The door slamming just a little too hard. The kind of slam that says, "Don't even think about asking me how I'm doing." His footsteps echoed down the hallway like thunder, heavy and erratic. Our child asked an innocent question. "Dad, do you want to play Candyland?" He snapped, sharp and cutting, "No, I hate that game." I tried to gently intervene, only to be met with a glare and a voice tight with fury. He snaps at me. "Get me some food." Every word he spoke carried the weight of someone who thought the world owed him something, and we were the ones who had to pay that price. So I gently responded, "I was going to ask you if you wanted to go out for dinner tonight." But he stormed off, grabbed his shoes and his keys, and walked right back out the door. Then he was gone. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. I called his phone. I called once. I called twice. No answer. I texted. Still no response. 6 hours passed. 6. 6 hours of waiting, wondering, walking on eggshells with no one even in the house. And when he finally came back, he carried himself like a man who had been wronged, full of self-righteousness and quiet contempt. He didn't ask how we were. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He just acted like nothing happened. And so I let it go. I let it go into Never Never Land. Never to talk about it, never to bring it up, never to acknowledge it, never. Just never. It's just gone. And I was left yet again holding all the pieces together. So the next day rolls around, and I can't live in Never Never Land anymore. So I gather my courage, I take a breath, I tap dance the delicate steps that I have practiced all so well, and I said, "Hey, I know you were having a rough day yesterday. I know work is stressful and hard, and I can understand that, it's tough. But I was wondering, just maybe, if now would be an okay time to, maybe talk about what happened yesterday, if you aren't too busy or doing something else." But that wasn't what I wanted to say. You see, what I wanted to say was, "Hey, when you stomped through the house like a tornado, slammed doors, snapped at our kid, got short with me, then disappeared for 6 hours without a word, only to come back acting like the wounded hero in your own movie? That wasn't adulting. That was a tantrum in grown-up clothing." But I didn't say that. No, you don't say stuff like that. Because if you do, you're mean, you're starting drama, you're too emotional, you're always twisting things. No, that's not what I said. So instead, I, said those carefully rehearsed lines. "Could we maybe talk? If you're not too busy, if you want to, I don't want to bother you." And then here comes the classic script from him. "What are you so upset about? I'm the one that had a rough day. You were the one being unreasonable. You should have just done what I wanted in the first place and gotten me the food." Well, now That cues the part of me that wants to respond with full, unfiltered sarcasm. Oh, you're right, Your Majesty. Silly me. I forgot I'm not supposed to have independent thoughts. My bad. I'll just do whatever you say from now on. You can think for both of us. It really must be exhausting carrying that kind of superiority. But I'm sure you can handle it. I'm sure you'll manage. I'm just so blessed and so lucky to have you. No, those words never come out of our mouths. The thoughts go through our heads. But instead, we just say nothing. And in that silence, another piece of me quietly disappeared. So we go to the next story. This one is called When Reality Becomes a Moving Target. Moving the goalpost. So it started with something small, a conversation in the kitchen while I was chopping vegetables. He said he'd pick up our kid from school on Friday so that I could get a break. And I looked up and I smiled, relieved. It was not often that he offered, and I'll take it. I even said thank you. And just like that, it was done. Nothing monumental, just a simple agreement. But when Friday came, and I asked him what time he was heading out, he blinked at me like I was speaking another language. I never said I'd pick her up. He snapped like I was accusing him of something unforgivable. I paused. Yes, you did. On Tuesday in the kitchen. You said you'd take care of it so I could rest. His face hardened. You must have misunderstood. That's not what I said. Maybe that's what you wanted me to say. And I felt the air shift. You know that moment where your stomach tightens? The world starts to feel a little less solid? That was it. Right there. The floor just shifted beneath me. Because I remember that conversation. I remember where we were standing. I remember holding the knife. I remember wiping my hands on the towel. I remember saying thank you. I remember his exact words. So what do I do now? Here's what I want to say. I swear, you and I do not stand in the same universe when we talk. It's like I'm speaking Earth and you're speaking Mars. But somehow, when the communication breaks down, it's always my fault. I misheard. I misunderstood. I made it up. How convenient for you. I also wanted to say, you did say it. I know you did. I shouldn't have to keep mental transcripts of every conversation just to protect myself from being made to feel insane. I should not have to second guess reality just because it's inconvenient for you to admit that you forgot or changed your mind. But these are the things we don't say. I felt instead my throat tighten up. I force a small nod like maybe I got it wrong. I make a joke that I don't feel just to move forward. Maybe I did imagine it. Who knows, right? And he shrugs, satisfied, because the subject is dropped. How convenient. For him. But for me, I now spend the rest of the day questioning myself. Going back over the memory like I'm a detective on my own crime scene. Did I say it? Did he agree? I think he agreed. Did I just hope that he would? What exactly did we say? Did I misunderstand him? No. I know what I said, and I know what I heard. Don't I? Now I want to start recording the conversations. I want to pay extra close attention to make sure that I remember correctly. That's what gaslighting does. Now we go to the third story. The circular conversation. It started with him coming to me. I need to talk to you, he said. Those dreaded words. His face was tight, his eyes already brimming with the weight of some fresh injustice. I paused what I was doing. I closed my computer. I set my coffee down. I turned toward him like I was about to enter a boardroom negotiation. What could he possibly want? What's wrong this time? So he says, I just don't understand why you spoke to me like that this morning. It really hurt, and I don't appreciate it. It really ruined my entire day. I blinked. I was confused. I said, wait, what? What did I say? I had no idea what he was talking about. So he continued. When you told me to move the car, your tone was really sharp. It felt disrespectful, like I was some kid that you were bossing around. So now I'm replaying it in my mind. All I said was, hey, can you move your car? I need to leave in a few minutes. There was no edge. There was no attitude. Just a simple request. So I said I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I just needed to go, and the car was blocking me. Well, now he folds his arms and says, well, you could have said it nicer. You snapped at me. I don't know why you were in such a bad mood. Now, here's what I want to say. I want to say, you're not upset about my tone. You're upset that I asked you to do something. You heard me make a request, and you translated it into an insult. You turned one sentence into a personal attack because being asked to do something for me somehow feels like a threat to your ego. But I don't say all of that. I stay calm. I wasn't in a bad mood. I just needed to leave quickly. I didn't mean it to sound short. Well, now he snaps, so you admit it sounded short. You admit that you talked short to me. Well, now I'm trapped. I didn't say that, I replied, carefully treading. I said if I came across that way, it wasn't my intention. Well, now he rolls his eyes. You're gaslighting me. I felt what I felt. Don't tell me that my feelings aren't valid. Well, now we're back to here's what I want to say. I want to say to him, you take something painfully small, inflate it, assign it malicious meaning, and then make it my job to fix this thing that you have invented. And now you are weaponizing the word gaslighting to protect yourself from being questioned, even though you're the one rewriting what happened, which is gaslighting. Wait, I'm confused. But now I'm on the defense, so I apologize. Again, a little slower this time. I'm so sorry. A little softer. I'm really sorry. Trying anything to make this right. And just when I think that maybe we've cleared the fog, he circles back. I just think that if I talked to you like that, you would freak out. You always get so sensitive when I raise my voice even a little. Wait, I stare at him, completely stunned. The conversation was supposed to be about his hurt feelings, but now it's about my hurt feelings, which are being used against me? And my head hurts. And now we're tallying all the past moments, replaying hypotheticals, comparing reactions, and now it's not even about the car anymore. It's about everything I've ever done, real or imagined. So here's what I want to say. This isn't a conversation. It's a maze. And every time I think I've found the way out, you shift the walls again. You don't want to understand. You want to win, whatever that means. You want me so turned around that I don't have a clue what we're talking about or where we are. I have no frickin' idea what to say. But we don't say these things. The conversation ends the way that it always does, with me saying yet again, I'm sorry. And him saying, yeah, well, maybe just think next time. Again, here's what I want to say. Think about what exactly? That you are so fragile that I have to filter every syllable like I'm walking through a minefield? That your ego is so delicate that a simple request feels like an attack? That I have to tiptoe around your feelings while mine get dismissed, distorted, or used against me the second I try to speak up? Well, what he doesn't know is that I am thinking about these things all the time. In fact, I think about how to soften my tone before I even open my mouth. I think about what words to use so that he won't twist them into something they never were. I think about his moods, his triggers, and his silences. I think about how to keep things calm, how to keep things okay, how to shrink myself just enough to avoid setting him off. I think about it in the morning when I wake up, and in the evening when I rehearse conversations in my head that I will never actually say out loud. I think about it when I'm shopping, when I'm driving, when I'm answering a simple text. I think about it, in fact, so much that I've stopped noticing how loud the silence in me has become. So, yes, I am thinking, but maybe it's time I start thinking about something else. Like what it's costing me to keep doing this. Like why my peace always has to come second. Like who I might be if I didn't have to edit myself just to survive a 5-minute conversation. The truth, the truth that I do want to say to him is you have built your comfort on my compliance. And I'm finally starting to wonder what would happen if I stopped playing along. These are the words that we want to say, the conversations that we wish we could have. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a health care provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those she has talked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support any allegation or claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.